What's up, everybody? This is another episode of Karen's Kids Podcast. This is episode 41.
41.
What's up, Jose?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Hey, real quick, all the tradesmen, all you St. Joe's, all you fucking, what an idiot. I don't know why I said my high school of all things. All you Asher brothers and all you tradesmen who are watching, we appreciate you. Give us a like. Tell somebody to subscribe. Pass the fucking word on. Get the same like 70 views, dude. What's going on here?
We got the same 70 people watching.
Do you think we're shadow banned, bro? You know what? Okay,
I like to think that just because I want to be more important than I actually am.
Right. I remember when you brought that up. I'm like, bro, nobody's watching this thing. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about like people who, I hate it. I hate how people are like, oh, I'm canceled now. Like, it was a thing, 3 years ago to like say something about being canceled. Now people want to say like I was canceled like it's a fucking like
These are the same people that 3 months ago were depressed.
No, it's like
have depression.
No, it's like the people who say, "Oh, I'm canceled." It's like like it's a badge of honor.
Exactly.
It's like "Oh, I'm canceled." Like I hear a podcast and there's old dudes and they love saying they're canceled. It's like, shut the fuck up. If you're cancelable, then you're not that dude. Think about it.
Okay, say that again.
If you're cancelable,
okay,
you're not that dude. Meaning, Joe Rogan, not cancelable. They tried, blew through it.
Yep.
Elon Musk, they tried, blew through it. They're the dudes. They're that dudes.
Yeah.
So if you're a dude who's like, oh fuck, all my money was in YouTube, and they canceled you. Well, you weren't that prolific as a person because your following should have been like, well, where are you going to be? If you're not on YouTube, are you going to go on Rumble? Then we'll follow you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're a person who got canceled, then you weren't that dude.
Nope, you were not.
You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking about that. I was like, man, these motherfuckers, they say it like it's cool. Like, yeah, I got canceled. Well, then you weren't that good at what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're, and I think about it. I'm like, Joe Rogan got bigger. They try to cancel him. He's so good. He got bigger. Yeah. Maybe twice as big.
You're right.
So that's something. That is a quick thought I had.
Yeah, for sure.
So recently, this is something this is something new. This is something that's kind of happening right now, which me and Jose are both confused about. And I'm sure anyone who has a fucking brain would be confused about as well. Somehow our lovely president, our brilliant, young, virile president, Joseph Biden, great man, smart, very coherent, very good at what he does. I don't think anyone could deny that. Nope. Like the man getting shit done.
Exactly.
He is sending all types of billions to Ukraine. Motherfucker gets things done.
And should run again.
And he loves to sniff people. It's like that's a good trait in a president.
Yep.
When you give him a baby and he just... That's a good sign of a really good dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
he's just missing a perm.
Did you ever think like when he gives his speeches, he's so coherent and so good at words. It's like he deserves to be up there, right?
Yeah.
So our brilliant, I can't stress that enough, brilliant president, he was signing is it a bill or is it a law? What do they call those?
I guess both.
So somehow, if you're a person trying to buy a home and you have good credit, right? Good credit. You're being penalized. You're actually going to have to pay a higher interest rate.
Something like $350 more.
Well,
for
I think it depends on the percent. Yeah. But people with lower credit score will get a better rate.
Something like $3,700 less on their closing.
So people who have shitty credit are going to be rewarded for it. And the opposite is true. People with good credit are going to get penalized for it. In what world does that make sense?
Yeah, why are they doing this?
What world? What person? Who? How do you sell that? How do you sell that to anyone without them saying, wait, what?
Exactly. I think that's what they want from us. They want us to be like, what the fuck are you doing? No. We can't have this. Bring on the social credit score.
Right.
We want that.
Okay, so I have little theories. So I think, honestly, there's outside influence, China and Russia mostly, but I think mostly China. They are fucking with us, man. I think, even George Soros, I've been thinking about that lately. This motherfucker pledged his life and billions of dollars to fucking our country up. You're gonna have some effect. You have billions of dollars.
Right.
It's not like some fucking Joe Schmo is like, I'm going to take down the United States and like, you're never going to see the fucking attempts. A billionaire with the mindset of, I want to destroy this country, they'll figure shit out. I think what's happening is like they put people in power. They have these crazy radical ideas. And I feel like we were at like a basis level. And then somebody in office comes in that like they're trying to push that goalpost way the fuck over there. Now we catch it, right? We catch when people are like, "That's a crazy idea." Like, what do you mean? And when we bring the goalpost back, it's actually not back at base level. No. It went up 5-10%, sure. And that was that's it. Yeah. They knew it wasn't going to go 80 yards. They just wanted it to go 5 yards, and now it's new 5 yards. So a couple years go by. They get another crazy motherfucker. They try to push the goalpost another 80 yards. They don't. But when it comes back, it's another 5 yards farther.
That's right.
Now we're 10 yards farther than the fucking original, I think that's what we're seeing.
That's exactly how they do it.
I think that's what we're seeing. And I think there's legitimate, and then people in Congress and people in our government, they all like money. We all like money.
Everybody
all of us loves the money.
Sure.
Now, when you get like some foreign entity comes at you, China, and it's like, hey, we like this industry, whatever it is. We want to get some bases in here. Why don't you help us with that? You can be partnered. They promise them millions and tens of millions and all that, and shares and all that. And then the greedy congressman or whoever they are, anyone in politics, anyone who has that authority will be like, yeah, I can come do it. Then when they get it, then when like, hey, shit's getting some firestorm on China's happening, those people speak up like, no, China's good. We're cool. AKA they make me tens of millions of dollars. So I'm gonna say, yeah, they're cool now. They're on the up and up. But nah, dude, they influence you. Now they got you. Then when they promise you more and more money, you're just intoxicated by the money. You're not realizing you're doing the bidding of the fucking communist China fucking regime. You know what I'm saying? And they put people in our in our school systems. I think they plant them in there, start putting these fucking socialism, fucking communism ideas, and let that grow. Like they're playing the fucking long game with us. And now we're starting to see. I think literally the people whoever would pass a fucking bill like that, they have ulterior motives. They're fucking with us. I think we're being fucked with. I think now we're seeing it.
That's 100% true.
It never stopped. Like China's been coming after us since we've been a thing. And the fact that we think that we can do business with, they don't give a fuck. Like we have checks and balances. We have laws. We have things on paper we have to do. China will be like, yeah, we'll do all those things, and they don't give a fuck. They just want to steal your
intellectual properties.
There you go. That and just your business, and they just want to corrupt. They just want to fuck us.
Yeah.
And I think there's just I think now we're starting to see that shit. I think like legitimately, because some of these things, like okay, your kid, right? Your kid can't go vote. Your kid can't get a fucking driver's license until a certain age. They can't go into a bar at a certain age. They can't fucking buy porn until a certain age, right? We all agree upon that. Everyone's like, no, that's fine, right?
Yep.
But then if you're going to allow your kid to be like, no, I want sex surgery to turn me into an opposite sex, and you're allowed to do that at any age, what fucking sense does that? How does that make sense to anyone? Not saying that you're not allowed to do that. If you and your parent, and they for years and years and years you talk about it and you want to do it, fucking so be it. But it shouldn't be up to your kid. You don't let your kid choose their diet.
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So, okay, so we all in agreements with that. So how does things like that get passed? There has to be
a long game.
influence. There has to be influence.
Right.
There has to be someone being like, hey, no, this is a good idea. And even the person's like, are you sure we should allow that? And the person's like, remember that $10 million we gave you, or that grant to your fucking this, to your that? Remember that? Oh, yeah. That's just, that's how it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, absolutely. I think they have the money. They come up with these ideas. They create or fund the school, right? Then they create a curriculum, and then they get a bunch of people following that curriculum. They get these students that become graduates, and then they put them out into the world with a whole new idea, and they,
right,
you know,
and that's what I think.
Change
and
countries.
Like we're saying, they play the long game. Like, dude, they'll wait 100 years to make the right move.
Right.
But meanwhile, they're just, and I think it's pretty, I think hot warfare, right? That's combat, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's done. Hot war, although listen, it's currently happening with the Russia and Ukraine, I guess.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I don't know, I'm not there. We don't do that. We're not fighting with fists anymore. It's like, dude, they're like, oh no, we're not gonna outmuscle fucking the Goliath.
Right.
We're not gonna outmuscle them.
Right.
But they're greedy. Everyone, just greed is in the human nature,
Right.
across the board. And they knew that. They're like, oh, let's just we'll just slowly, a slow drip of fucking up that country. We'll put these teachers in there, and now all of a sudden they're directors of like the whole school board, and now they're like, and then all they have to do is move the needle a little bit each time, and it's working, right? Because there's no way America 5 years ago would have let Pfizer do the thing they did to us.
Right.
Right? Or we think that, or I'd like to think that we wouldn't have let that. Clearly it happened. So maybe it could have happened 5 years earlier. It could have.
Yeah.
But
it's a game, man. They corner you. They get you to a point where you only have a few outlets, but every one of those outlets works out in their benefit.
They have think tanks. I think they literally have think tanks of like, okay, we're going to do this. What is the projected outcomes of this? And if that is, then we're going to do this. And they have fucking A, B, and C, and D fucking plan.
Yep.
What's going to be interesting is
they have networks of plans.
Oh, 100%.
They all lead to one funnel. You know what I mean? And then they end up getting what they want, which is what? More power, more money, more control.
Right, for sure. Do you think that, like, man, it's going to be great. This next presidential election, 2024, it's going to be maybe the most wild one, I think, out of all of them. That I've ever been alive for.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I don't want to say it's good versus evil, because like I think there's so many good people that think they're on the right side because they just think they are.
I think it's bad versus worse.
Yeah, but I don't think. Listen, I'm not a Trump guy, right? I'm not like one of these people who are like, oh, Trump. But I noticed that, like, I'm not stupid. I see the game they're trying to do to the guy. They're trying to fucking just smear him. They do not want him to be president, which makes me think he should probably be president. If, like, the fucking system doesn't want something, that means it should be the opposite. Yeah, right. If they don't want it, that means we should want it.
Right.
If they want it, that means we shouldn't want it. If they put, obviously, clearly, like, Biden has got to be just, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know shit
just
about the inner workings.
Total puppet, man.
Right,
just
exactly.
A total puppet.
And he's just like, he probably...
Sounds like me on the podcast.
I mean, I don't know, dude.
Jesus, man.
What
do we do?
I don't know.
What do we do?
I don't know. See, that's, like, I don't know. Is the fucking aliens going to finally say, all right, listen, enough is enough?
Yeah, and how do we even know they're going to be any better? Honestly,
don't.
What do we have to go on to be like, oh yeah, bring the aliens on? We don't. They might probe us up our ass and control us worse than what's happening right now.
Right. I feel like my ego and it won't let me think that we're gonna go towards some apocalyptic type thing. Like I can't. maybe it's like my glass half full side, and it's my optimism on life.
Yeah.
It won't let me go down that. It's easy to go down that. We're going to the shitter. Shit's getting ruined. We're fucked. It's so easy to do that. But I'd like to think that there's only a few evil people for the masses.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, they have a stronghold. Like, a few people seem to have a lot of power over a lot of people. But they're losing that each day. They're losing their grips a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd like to think that people will prevail and we'll figure shit out. But we're at a crazy transition period that it's like, like, the whole thing with, like, shady politics, I think that's always been a thing. I just think that now, with Twitter and the internet and social media, things get exposed immediately.
Yeah.
So it's not that there's more corruption now than ever. I just think it's always been a thing.
It's always
I just think now we're a privy to it.
Yep.
You know? So
Yeah.
So I feel like now, well then the powers that be are still doing their old power moves.
Right.
And they're getting called out and they're getting caught up because they're like, oh shit.
That's right.
Like, I didn't think this fucking Twitter follower would actually dig into all the public records that are deep the fuck in there to find out that, oh yeah, I traded with this person. Oh, that's probably insider trading or whatever it is, you know? And that's happening. Motherfucker, this dude had like Elon Musk flight logs. Like, he was tracking his private plane. Like, people are crazy.
Listen, man, I have great hope that the internet is gonna continue to win.
Yeah.
And thanks to the internet, right, we have all these fact checkers that are out there. People who are obsessed over certain things, you know? Yeah, like that one kid who found out Elon Musk's flight records. Like, I'm hoping that, you know, we somehow create, I don't know, this society that's like a connected outside source that helps to keep the government, I don't know if the word is loyal or just, right? I don't know what the word is exactly. Just keep them from fucking us so hard.
And what I think also is happening is our government is very compartmentalized.
Right.
So when I say our government is shady instead, like, it's not, I know I always say it as a blanket statement, and it's not that. I honestly do think there's people in the White House are like, what the fuck? They're also like us. Like, what the fuck is going on? But they're in the dark and they don't have the power to do the things they do. And I think that, like, I think that's where it's going to have to happen. It's like just more leakers leaking things out, like facts. And I think I'm not. You got something playing. I feel like I don't know. I feel like we have a train that's going in a direction, and for the first time, we're realizing like, oh, it's been running like fucking people over. You know, it's like this train's been killing people. We didn't realize it at first because we're on the train, right? So I feel like you can't just put the train off course. What's gonna have to happen is just more and more. It's gonna be a fucking stupid slow drip.
Yeah.
But it's gonna have to change because I don't know what unless there's a new game we don't know yet. Now that's very possible. There's gonna be a new way of how they're playing us, and we haven't even conceived it because we think, I don't know, maybe that's where AI comes into play. Maybe they have an AI that they allow to come out that's really giving us propaganda. You know, It's like trying to make sure that we're over here, you know, still kind of keeping us in this fucking group, like this kind of category kind of shit. But I don't know, man. I think like I was going to say earlier, we need the old people to fucking die off. They have all their old ties. They have their old, you know, there's still like 80-year-olds who are fucking been doing shit for 40 years in that bitch. Right. And they still got all those strong ties. When those motherfuckers die, hopefully then like the new generation realize like, hey man, like they were doing it wrong. There's a good way, like our country's, there's a reason why people want to come here. You know, it's like we still have a good we're based on good ideas, democratic, all for one for all kind of thing. Like we had good values. It's just there's been people attacking us for decades. We've been a country for how long? 250 years, something like that. Since day one, there's been people trying to destroy us.
Right.
There's gonna be some delusion or a dilution of like our shit. Like we're like, I don't know. It's been a slow. I think it's been slowly eroding, and I think it's gonna be slow to get back to strength. But I think we can get there because like I said, I think people are good, and I think I'd like to think that good will prevail over evil. However you wanna. Think about it. I think there's always dark times before bright times, so maybe we're in that gray area. It's not quite dark. It's not quite light.
Or we're still in the light and it hasn't gotten dark yet.
That's what I was...
right.
Because
we don't know. We don't know where in the spectrum we are actually at. We think it's dark because, well, we're not at the top.
Right. That's what I was like.
Maybe in some kind of way, right, if we look at it through a different lens, maybe they're doing everything they can to keep it healthy.
Right. I brought that up. I don't know if I was talking to you about it, but I think it was last time with Ernie here. I know the government takes a lot of heat, but is there any world where they're actually doing the right thing and they're allowing themselves to be the evil, that to look bad because they know what we don't know?
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't tell them because it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a movie plot.
Yeah. It's like daddy's like, well, we can't let the children find out about
Right.
this. Right.
We can't let them know Santa, isn't real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Do you think there's ever a world or a possibility in our lifetime that like we don't have a president, we don't have like a one leader, or do you think that like big groups need?
Yeah, but at that point we're no longer America, and maybe that's what they're headed towards. You know what I mean? Because we've always had a president or somebody in charge of America or the corporation, right? I think that...
Yeah, but we all... I'm sorry to cut you off, but don't we all kind of believe that it's like the president doesn't actually really run anything.
He used to.
Nah, but like there's always been checks and balances, right?
Yeah.
So the president can't do anything outlandish without like there's being some balance,
Which is the beauty of our government.
Right.
Where like China doesn't really have that. They have like dictatorships. Right? They have full
refer
control.
to China as communist China. Never just call them China.
Okay, right.
It's giving them too much credit.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually heard it in a podcast, so that's not,
okay.
Not
yeah.
original.
So communist China.
I was like, I like that.
Right.
I like that.
Whatever they decide is big enough for us to take and control. We're going to. Mm-hmm. We don't have those advantages or disadvantages. This depends on how you look at it in America, right?
I think we do that.
I mean, sure.
Certain things our government is involved, whether we'd like to think they're not involved with Facebook or not.
Right.
They're involved.
Right.
They're involved.
Right. Honestly, yes, they are. But I mean, it's not as blatant as like we're China, right?
Right.
Or the communists.
But then again, everything we know off China, we learned from the American government.
We learned it from our propaganda networks like CNN.
I'm just saying, like
Fox
everything
News,
we think we know.
all the news stations.
Everything we think we know. Think about it. I said this before, and I'll say it again. This is a Dino G original. This is gonna be everything you think you know. Everything you know, most things you know, have been told to you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Most things.
Most things.
Yeah.
And you're just taking it for like, okay, that's fact. Yeah. But how many times did you think your whole life something was true and it wasn't? A lot. Yeah. A lot of times.
Right.
So, dude, most of our facts and our history, dude, I don't know, man. You have to question it because we've actually caught people up in lies. Like, how are they going to describe? How are the history books going to talk about coronavirus?
Right.
Are they going to say, "Yo, this was a huge pharmaceutical play on a tragic event that got a lab leak that there's two things happening at the same there's three things happening at the same time. There's a lab leak in China. They don't want to admit to it. Then there's a part of our Fauci gives money to the gain of function research. That's the second level. Third level is pharmaceuticals jumping on it.
Yeah.
You have three things all simultaneously happen. We had no chance.
We didn't have no chance.
We had no fucking chance. So, what's the history books gonna say? Most people can agree. The fucking.
It depends who wins, right? If these corporate leaders win, Fauci's
Right.
going to be a hero.
I don't think anything's gonna happen to Fauci. I think his name in long term will get fucked. His name will get fucked, possibly. But nothing literally is gonna happen to him.
Right.
He's not going to jail. He's not gonna apologize for lying to the fucking tens of hundreds of millions of people saying, yeah, you get the virus, it stops with you get the vaccine, it stops with you.
That's very good.
Congressman, you do not know what you're talking about.
That's really good.
And it's like, dude, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, in the history books, and be like, no, this was.
I hope the history books are not going to be kind to somebody like that, right? But who knows?
But the thing is we're having two histories happening simultaneously.
Right.
We're having what people think is the truth, and then what the propaganda shit machine is pumping out.
Right.
It's like we're not going to get straight answers about 9/11. It's like, dude, there's fuckery at some level.
We're never going to get the list printed from that fuck island.
Epstein. Exactly, dude.
Never.
Oh my god, dude! I just don't see. If you have a brain and you're a logical person, I consider myself. I like to think logically. I think some of the shit that's happened. It's like how are we not overthrowing shit right now because we're not getting the answers we are.
I mean, it's happening in some countries. Like France right now is in a fucking huge tussle, right? The people are fighting.
Tell me about it. I don't really know what's going on.
I don't.
Look it up.
We would
Google
have to
it.
look it up. Okay, it's going to be hard to find some of this stuff, but supposedly Macron. I got to look it up. Let's look it up.
What's like the basis? Like, what's the general? What's the thumbnail of what's going on?
So what we know is not being portrayed in the news today here in America.
Are they trying to overthrow the government or something? Like,
I don't know if they're trying to overthrow the government, but they are rebelling, and they broke in. The people are rioting, and they broke into the Black Rock corporate offices in France, and they were basically destroying the building because they're upset about certain things that are happening with their pensions. Right? But let's look into it.
All right. While you're looking that up, I just thought about something. It's a little bit. It's kind of a little off topic, but it's something that's I want to talk about. Dude, ADT, right? The fucking security company. They called me about sun panels. They're getting into the solar game, right? So the lady calls me. She's giving me some spiel. She's giving me her fucking. She's going on for like I'm trying to be respectful, dude. I'm like, she didn't give me any window. She didn't pause for me to be like, no, thanks, I'm good. And she goes, all right. I was like, all right. Finally, I had to cut her off. Finally, I was like, hey. I was like, no, thanks, I'm good. I don't need solar panels. I'm okay. I was being nice, respectful. Then she goes, well, is there a reason why you're hesitant? I go, well, now that you gave me that opportunity, I'm like, dude, solar panels is a scam. Like that's a whole scam. She goes, well, where are you getting your information? Why do you think that? I go, dude, by the time anyone electricity's cheap, right? By the time I see any kind of benefits off that, I have to live in the property for 30 plus years. And solar panel, they take your extra energy and you can't even sell it, right? You don't make anything off it. So I was like, dude, you think Sunroof is doing something to help me out? You think they're doing something out of the kindness of their heart? Right? Trying to hook me up with something? No. There's a fucking angle. They have angles on it. You said something that made me think about that, and I was trying to tie it together. But it's like, these people aren't trying to help you out. Government, there's not like corporations and shit that are trying to help you out. There's an angle. There's a reason why they're doing something. What are you on, True Social?
Yeah, I'm trying to find some. I'm not sure how to use this.
rambled on for like 2 minutes on nothing.
Yeah, but we can edit all this shit.
Nah, fuck it. Keep it in. I don't give a fuck. No one's watching. Hey, but if you're still watching right now, I appreciate it. Like, I know our numbers suck right now, but it's cool. Like, hey, the 10 of you fucking watching and you're legit watching, I legit appreciate it. And the few people, like, they, you know, it's mostly like tradesmen and shit. Like I said, man, we appreciate you guys. We're trying to do something here. It's probably going to be nothing. We'll probably grow it to make $0, but at least I get to talk shit. I get to ramble. Right, Jose? Mm-hmm. You get to hear my shit. Anyways. Oh, I watched another UFO thing.
Did you end up watching the one that I told you?
No, the Tear in the Sky.
Tear in the Sky. Yeah.
No, not yet. I watched the Stephen Greer one. So
Undisclosed?
No, but it's a new one.
Oh, another one.
Yeah,
it's
brand new. He just dropped it.
Nice.
It's more like he's been pressuring the government really hard, and he's got so many insider information. Like, he has he's really pressuring to make the government admit more of the shit they know, you know, like more of the footage, there's so many people coming forward that are in the government. Now they passed that thing where if you had an NDA, it's not going to be upheld against you if you want to come forth about some black budget fucking operation. Well, he said something that fucking, if I took anything away from the whole documentary, was this. So, whether you want to believe it or not, I'd like to believe it, that we've had UFO crashes and we've retrieved technologies and there's been reverse engineering, and I think that's happened, right? I think that's a thing. There's no actual evidence of like real shit, you know, I guess, but I guess supposedly we got fiber optics and even Velcro from a crashed UFO. So what happens is our government they retrieve all the UFO technology, right? Then they reverse engineer to try to figure out how things work. And then you know what the next step is?
What's that?
They'll create companies selling that technology. So they're further adding money to their black market research shit. So like a fiber optic company, right? If let's say we find it's true, let's say it's real. Let's just hypothetically think that, we got fiber optics from a UFO. Our government, through whatever, they started a company selling fiber optics. So they just further feed their own shit.
Right.
So how many companies are like that? That's what it sounds like. Oh, that's because I never thought about that. And I'm like, yes, that makes so much sense to me. That's definitely happening.
Right. I keep hearing this thing about like, in order to save America, we have to take money out of politics. How do we do that? Exactly.
Well, my first instinct is
not allow them to invest. But then what incentive do they have to make America?
What I would say, what we would have to do is like every dollar that's in a campaign has to be accounted for, and they will like, you know, like, I don't know, there have to be some kind of laws, some kind of thing, something passed that they can't just do it. Now, the second thing is that they'll find workarounds. Corporations always find workarounds. That's any law, anything that fucks them. They find I cracked my neck crazy. They find a workaround. So I feel like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think all I could say is that maybe you know how we're being corroded, right?
Right.
You know how we're being corroded? They're planting seeds. They're doing all that, and it's just just corroding slowly. I think we're gonna have to do the opposite. Teach the young kids that do the good. So when they're older in power, now the good is in the ethos already.
Yep.
You know, so I think, I don't know, I don't think anything radically can be changed. You know, there's nothing that can be done overnight, that's for sure. And what's crazy is like, we think that our government, or we think our country will just get like to turn to shit overnight. It's like, no, nothing happens overnight. It's a slow burn. All of a sudden you look back 15 years and you're like, oh, I can't even go anywhere without fucking showing a passport on streets in our country. You know, it's like all of a sudden that just happened. It's like all of a sudden we got to take our shoes off at the fucking airport.
Right.
It just happened, right? And it's like, and now we're just fucking used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Which is, so we're watching images of France. What's happening in France right now?
Is this current rioting?
This is current.
Dude, okay, okay, you're on the other side, right? You're a cop. What the fuck are you thinking in this moment?
You know, they have to do what the government asks. They have to, right? See,
do they think they're on the right side of things? Do they think?
I'm sure, no.
Not all of them.
I don't think they all believe that, but you know, they feed them this propaganda that you're all one. You know, yep. so they become this group. I was actually
us versus them.
It's exactly. It's us versus. You saw what they did to them? They just smacked them in the head. Anyways,
this would give me. Listen, rioting in the streets would give me so much anxiety. Yeah. There is no way I'm. Listen, I said it earlier. Every time somebody does one thing, I want to do the opposite. I would not be anywhere near big groups of fucking craziness.
But how do we make a change? When you have these superpowers like the government, these rich, old, power-hungry narcissists running a huge corporation like America, how do you make change when they have military groups like the police department doing all their dirt, right? They train them to be to guard them from actually getting the repercussions of what the people actually feel. Like, keep the people in control. You guys are you guys are the line of defense.
Maybe it literally takes hundreds of thousands of people to invade an area and just literally take it over. I don't know. Like,
but, I mean, we've tried that, right?
It's just people, though. We're all just people enforcing other people's wills on each other, if you think about it. Right? So all we have to do, what's going to have to happen is just, man, some of the people that are in those circles have to wake up and be like, well, fuck, like, what we're doing is not right. And just, if you get orders from the top, it has to, like, just don't do it. You know, like, we have to get on that kind of, like,
but
I don't know.
They
I don't
always
know.
find a workaround.
There's always going to be somebody who's going to do it. There will always be somebody you can pay
exactly.
to press the button.
Yeah, the people are divided in a percentage.
Yeah.
You know, there's always that fucking 40% that's always going to do whatever they ask. Like, get tattoos of Pfizer on their fucking arms. You know? But I don't know. Like, they already have the infrastructure. They have everything already set up. How do you... And I'm not saying fucking go anarchy over everything. I'm not saying that. Ooh. But I'm saying that you mentioned that they always have a workaround stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening? Let's say we all vote over something. It's possible that they might be like, all right, well, since everybody voted for the person we don't want, we're gonna have to change some of these rules. So, like,
they will.
And they'll end up doing it. They usually restructure. What do they call it when they take over districts? They redistrict areas just to benefit them in certain ways. And I remember one time I went to go vote, and I don't know if this has anything to do with anybody doing, you know, with any fuckery or whatever. But I remember I went to go vote, and usually I would vote at the library. They told me, I'm sorry, you don't vote here anymore. It got redistricted. You go vote at the VFW. I was like, okay. So I went over there, and they were like, no, you're at the library. I went back to the library. The library told me, no, you're actually over there. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not voting. It was almost like, was this deliberate? Was it? I don't know. But why did they redistrict it like that? They're always playing games.
I know. I don't know. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know how we change it. Well, obviously, I think things are changing. I think the internet is a gift and
I
a curse.
think that's our saving grace.
And then that's why AI is gonna save the day. It's the better
Unless
version.
they figure out how to control it first.
Yeah, but don't you think an AI would eventually be so smart it would know if it's being manipulated?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that's the fear.
You know what? Listen, our technology and our understanding of the internet is such at an early stage.
Oh yeah,
We don't even know what we don't know yet.
right.
We could, dude. Cell phones popped up hard the last 23 years ish.
Yeah,
23 in 20. So think about that. In
Right.
20 years, the cell phone revolutionized the earth essentially.
Right.
20 years. In 20 more years, we can't even think about what the next thing is. There's gonna, you know what? There's gonna eventually gonna be a new version of the phone. There's gonna be a thing we don't hold anymore. This is gonna be an old school idea at some point.
yeah. And honestly, look at what does the cell phone actually do?
Just connects us. That's what it does.
It connects us. It really does. It connects us to any information right away.
It's a connection
That's
to
it.
information and to people
Okay.
and to places. If you know, in a way, like you could see images of places. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fraction of actually being there, but it's something.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it is a web. And we're all trapped in it, waiting for the spider to come and eat us.
Like I just don't. Like I said, man, I just don't even think we could even use language to try to accurately predict the future. Because I think it, because whatever Rogan had that fucking quantum fucking physicist guy, Michikaku.
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Michio Kaku.
Yeah, and once they crack, see that's another race is who cracks the quantum computer first,
Right.
us or China.
China, IBM.
Or maybe Russia, it's like whoever does that, it's going to change everything. Man, I don't really know how to even explain a quantum computer, but they're saying, we compute things on ones and zeros, and this quantum computer will compute things on atoms,
Atoms, on the level of atoms. Which means...
and from multiple universes.
So what does that mean?
I don't even know. You're asking a fucking idiot. So
Okay, so right now, when you look up on your phone, really what your phone is doing, it has all this stored information or access.
it's a part of your brain.
It's accessed. It accesses all type of information, and it just brings it up to you right away. That's what the phone or the chip does, right? The ones and zero things translate every language into one, right? So, on the level of atoms, now if you have a question where it's like, what would happen if you, I don't know, remember when you were kids and you would be like, hey, what would happen if a lion fought a shark? Then it would depend. This computer would be able to be like, this could happen if this occurred, and it would give you every single calculation. Have you ever watched like it's one of the superhero movies at the end where it's Doctor Strange and he's doing all these calculations of what exactly might occur if something goes down.
Yeah.
I imagine
one of the Avengers.
Right. I imagine that a quantum computer would do that in a second.
Right.
This is the right way to do it.
100x. All the versions.
Yeah.
Right.
It would look at every single possibility from here to eternity.
Right.
Like that.
And what they explain too is like, we need in order to find different kind of medicines and things, we need to physically grab things and test it. Like this will compute all of it. And it'll give us any kind of like...
It would do all the tests and like that
Yeah,
fast.
we're idiots trying to speak on this really shit. Well, my point is, this thing is gonna change. We thought the internet changed the game. Well, this thing's gonna change the way internet is a thing, and there's gonna be more and more things, dude.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the printing press came out,
Yeah.
that was like crazy technology, and look how what a joke it is now.
It is.
These cell phones and these microphones and these headphones is probably all a joke right now.
Yeah.
If we don't blow up the earth, it's some kind of cataclysm.
And he also made a point that aliens may have already figured out quantum computing.
Right.
And this is why they're able to travel the way they do. Which I don't even know what that fully means, honestly.
All we could do is guess, but the fact is, are we ever going to get closer to the truth?
I think we inch.
I think it only gets us. I don't know who said it. What confused? I don't know what one of those people who philosophers back in the day. It's like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I think we're that. It's like every time we think we're getting close, it's like no, there's more shit that we don't know.
Yeah. I think that points to what infinity is.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that points to what infinity is. But
so, what do you think? Do you think the answer is? Do you think that it I don't want to say ignorance is bliss, but do you think that there's just some things that you shouldn't think about? Because you'll never get the answer, so maybe is that like an empty feeling and it makes you lack in the other things? Do you think that there's just certain things that you just shouldn't think about, you shouldn't worry about, and like to be a happier human, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I think we all have a certain capacity, right? Mm-hmm. And then, if you can't think about these things, then society is not.
It's stale.
It doesn't need you to move forward. Somebody else will just do it.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, as you were saying that, let's see, how do I make this connection? You were talking about how the way the government encroaches on your freedom is they invade it slowly. And while you're not paying attention, and when you finally complain, that's when they stop. Mm-hmm. But they've already inched. Mm-hmm. And when you're not looking, they inch some more. And until you complain, that's when they stop. And they keep doing that until they fully have control over you completely. I think that's the way thought also works. Like, I may not be able to fully come up with all these ideas, but I think we inch forward that way, where it's like, okay, I reached the barrier. I can't go any farther. But then some new kid coming up, right, he'll ask the questions and search a little deeper. Like Michio Kaku was saying on the Joe Rogan podcast that there was a scientist who passed away that was looking for the answer to life. And that scientist was Einstein.
No, the God equation or whatever, right?
Right. He was looking for the answer to life.
Oh, the answer to everything.
The answer to everything.
Yeah.
And so when Michio Kaku picked that up, and he went farther. He is part of the group who created string theory or discovered string theory. And so he brought Einstein's idea just slightly farther. And then after Michio Kaku, there'll be somebody else, and we'll inch forward just like the government. It encroaches on our freedoms.
While you're saying that, it makes me think of and I think we kind of tried to talk about it before, but it's crazy to think about what is an idea?
Where does it come from?
Yeah. What is it? How did I get it? And we all don't get the same ones.
I think that's all included in that. The answer to everything. I think the reason why we think that there's a God out there, it's because where do these ideas come from? Is there an actual intelligence somewhere out there that feeds us? Almost I don't know, there's dust in the air, and when the dust collides with something else, then sparks an idea or something. I don't know. But it's really interesting to think about.
Yeah, because it's or if you're a person who's looking for ideas, you're a person who's maybe you're setting your antenna to a certain frequency where ideas come and flow more.
Okay.
I don't know. I think about that because I think of myself as a deep thinker, right? And I don't think everyone thinks hard, right? And people, they think everyone's involved with everyone has their thoughts or they're stuck in their own head all day. Everyone's like that. But I think some people don't think past surface.
Right.
It's they said this, okay. And I don't know where I got it from, but I've always been able to see other. I'm no, this is how they're fucking you. It's right. You see, this is how, and they're oh yeah. It's I didn't see that, and I don't know. It's ideas. How does it come to some people? How do some people get big ideas? They get the biggest ideas, or do we all kind of get them? But some people are oh, I'm gonna run with this one.
Right.
You know,
I think
don't
it's a
know.
little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit of some people cast a net
Mm-hmm.
and they pick up fish, and other people they just fall on their lap, or they just find them on the shore. If like fish were ideas, right? But they're slippery.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. I think your body. I think about when I get a good new idea. I love that feeling. There's like a weird feeling you get. It's like your body's like something's telling you like, yeah, do something with that. Right. We all get it sometimes. Like, oh, that's a good idea, and it's strong. It's fucking like if there was something you to do in that moment, you would do it. But then sometimes, it bleeds into the next day. That idea starts losing a little of its brightness.
Yeah, it's slippery.
The next day, it's a little dim. Third day, you're like, ah. But that 3 days ago, you're like, yo, that idea is going to make me $1 million.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think about that before because I'm sure I said it on one of the podcasts, but I think about
It's like a disappearing ink.
It's like, I think
It's like a message that it comes and it's really clear, and then it just starts to fade away slowly.
Right. I think sometimes you think about, I want answers. I need an answer to something, or I need that idea. I think you get it. I think sometimes when you ask for things, like I've asked for big ideas. If I were to ever have wrote down all my ideas of like business ideas, dude, I'd have a crazy thing. But I think to myself, it's because I'm always trying to think that. I'm always asking for those ideas, right? And I think I've been given them, but I just don't have the fucking execution thing. You know, it's like, oh, I asked for it. Well, whatever I asked for, gave it to me. It can only give me so much. It can't fucking put the money in my bank account.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So idea coming from a place, I think it's, I don't know. It probably is. Or is it a frequency? Or is it just that next level of, let's get a little into stoner talking, and I don't really believe this, but it could be. Do you think that's the next level of consciousness? They have a big role in our shit. We have no idea of it. And they notice certain people of like, oh, he's onto that. Let's keep pushing those ideas that way. This human might do it. You know, like this is how, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like we're like rats in a cage, and we only pick the ones that have actually gotten to a certain point that we can use them to push further. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like everything's a wheel. We look at rats; they're running wheels. We're on this earth. Maybe we're at some kind of cosmic wheel to that bigger thing where it's like, oh, we can. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to think like this.
That's straight stoner talk, right? It's like, I don't know. I think that's probably what it is. I think once I started like dabbing in the herbs is when my mind started like opening up a little bit. Started thinking about, I don't know. I think I started watching movies. Like I think like when I started getting high for the first time, I would watch movies. That was like my thing. And I think that's where it like, I would just start thinking, I would notice something. It would bring me to some place of understanding. Like, oh, that's how they do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm weirdly wired like that. I always feel like I try to break down how things work. Like I don't know. It's like I think once you start learning, it almost applies everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, right? It's like once you start learning how things work and how, okay, I get it. And it's like, well, you can almost apply that same thing in there. And it's like, oh, and you start seeing shit for what it is. And that's why.
Do you think those questions were built in you from the start?
I don't know. Do you believe in fate or it was all written?
I'm not sure. It's a very confusing thing.
It's a deep question because think about it. If you wanted to, I don't know, what you're walking down the street, if you just look over and you're like, I will punch this person, zero reason, you just made that instinctual choice. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it was okay. No. That was already written that you were gonna do that. You were gonna have that crazy thought at that moment just to feel alive.
I don't know. I don't see it like that. I feel like, there's certain. I don't know. You're born in all of these situations that you've been in, kind of steer you into a certain way, and you end up falling into like.
Yeah, but at any moment you can change though. Like you can do something different, radically different.
Sure. You can. You can do certain completely different, right? I mean, there's obviously people who are super fat and they lose all the weight, right? But that's not the easy way to go.
I know it's not easy.
It's like it's the most difficult to turn around.
So maybe it's written if you go on autopilot your whole life. If you just fucking.
And there are those people, right? But those people, like, do they even break like a normal level of IQ?
I don't know. But I had another wild thought. I don't know if I didn't fully formulate it, so I'll try to do it. What if every time you go to sleep, your consciousness... Okay, so I was thinking about the whole thing. Is it written, or are you making the choices? What if your consciousness, every time you go to sleep, it picks... Maybe like we talked about before, there's probably infinite amount of us having this conversation. The universe is so big. There's infinite amount of us, infinite amount of planets, infinite amount of also multiverses, right? So I was thinking, like, what if every time you go to sleep, your consciousness picks a life, and we think it's the same thing, right? But the thing is like yesterday I decided to hit that girl up. I was having that debate that whole fucking time. I don't know if I should do it. I might not. I should. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm like, fuck it. I did. I sent the text and it worked out. Then they go to sleep. You wake back up. Now you're on that trajectory. But it could have easily been I didn't sleep. And then your consciousness, I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to think of some way of your consciousness picking the better version of your decision making. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you follow me. I had a thought, and like I said, I didn't fully formulate it. I was trying to think of like your choices, because you can make radical. I believe you can make a radical change in your life if you just do it. Like, let's say I'm not a drum player. If I wanted to tomorrow take a 5-gallon bucket and be one of those guys tapping on the butt, I could do that.
But why don't you?
Because I don't want to do it.
Okay, but if you can.
That was my point of just, you can make a choice to do it.
Okay.
Like you can make a radical change different.
But to prove that right, you would have to do that.
Right.
You can't just say it because that doesn't prove
But I could
point.
literally could do it tomorrow if I wanted to.
Okay.
My point my point was just saying, if you want to make a radical change, let's say you're a super shy person.
Okay.
You're like, well, fuck it. I'm not gonna be shy. I'm gonna talk to everyone. Like I said, might not be great at it, but you can choose to do it, and you will get better at it.
Right.
You know, so there's just something like all your little traits. I think we run on autopilot. I think that's what's being a self-aware is. You stop running on autopilot. Right?
Yeah. All right.
So you don't let emotions get away from you. Like, you don't overreact. You know, something like you can calm yourself down. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with that, but whatever.
No, yeah, I'm just wondering. It's like you're talking about, like, do you remember when they used to have the school book sales where you would
Scholastic schools?
Yeah, you know, they would get like a classroom downstairs or in the library. They've set up books, and then they had these books where it's like choose your own adventure. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is, like, when you go to sleep, you choose your own adventure, and when you wake up, you're kind of like in that space.
Yeah,
like,
that
okay,
kind of.
like, yeah, you like, it says, like, hey, if you want to, I don't know, fight a dragon, turn to page 65.
If you want to go through that door, flip to page 72.
Yeah, and you're saying that if it's possible, is that the way our brain works? Or is the way the universe connected to each individual this is real stoner talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets into, you can get into the whole thing of like what is consciousness and all that. You know, that's obviously like a fucking beaten to death, but I don't know, man. The thing, okay, that brings me to what I said earlier. Is it worth even pontificating about that? Is it even worth trying to figure out what consciousness is? Because what matters is,
yes,
we need food. I need to make sure my family's safe. You know, I gotta tend to the farm.
I think it's all connected to, like, listen, Evolution doesn't stop.
I think we all need each other, right? The farmer doesn't need to be the scientist because there's a scientist.
Right, yeah, right. We all have different capacities, but the evolution doesn't stop.
Right.
And because it doesn't stop, we all have to inch forward. It's that thing again, you know. You inch forward slowly, whether it's invading somebody's privacies or pushing towards a better tomorrow, like, you know, in terms of like creating a wormhole or going into a wormhole or quantum computing. You know, we start off here and we end up there. And it might be all by accident. You know, you started with a square rock, but as you rolled it, because you needed it to build the house, it slowly turned into by accident, turned into a round rock. And that gave you the idea to make a wheel. And then we went from there, and now we're flying airplanes.
And I think our lifetime for sure we're gonna see change in flight. Planes will be an old technology, the traditional how they do it. Yeah. I think our government's trying to unload. I think we have some technologies that we're ready to unveil. I don't know.
Based on what we've done so far.
Right.
I mean, it only makes sense that that's what's going to happen.
So I watched this thing. Dude, you need to look up look this motherfucker up. It is an $8 billion warship our government has, our Navy has. It's called the fucking, I wrote it down. It is called, dude, $8 billion. It is called the Zumwalt. The Zumwalt. Look up what the Zumwalt is. This thing looks like, first off, we don't have anyone who's young and watches, but it looks like a Roblox. It looks like a Minecraft version of a warship. It's super square. There shouldn't be like any windows on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
tell me that doesn't look like the Tesla, the new Tesla that's coming out.
Dude, and it doesn't get detected by radar. It's got all these crazy missile It's like, dude, we got some crazy shit. And I bet you that isn't, I don't know, man.
And it's obviously, this is what they're showing us. They're like, that's gotten old.
Exactly. And this thing, it's got crazy speed. Like, that thing's like it moves like a speedboat.
And it's a submarine.
And it's like it's a football and a half. It does everything. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it goes on land, but
so is this like a secret thing that just came out?
Yeah, this is something they're.
Where did they keep it?
I don't know. I don't think it was a secret, but there was some kind of unveiling, whatever.
How many football fields?
I think it's a football and a half. I think it's a. There's no stats on it. Like, it doesn't. You can't find something with some stats on it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like, what the fuck? It'll probably give, it can carry, X amount of planes, and it's got like X amount of missiles on it, and it could be on the water for.
So is this something that you saw, or because these pictures, none of these pictures look actually real?
Yeah, it's it was. I mean, I saw it. I think of all places, I saw it on Snapchat, like one of these like real, like quick little. I don't know. There's like little stories and shit. And I saw it on that, and I was like, "Oh, I need to write this down. I want to look into what the Zumwalt was, dude." I was like, and once they said it was $8 billion, I was like, "What does an $8 billion piece of machine look like?"
$8 billion. And
you know what?
It says right here the cost of it was $22.5 billion.
Oh, but that's probably because you got to pay the people to build it. I mean, like
shit.
All the science that goes into it. Maybe it's a total, but I think that ship in materials probably $8 billion or whatever. Dude, it's crazy. Dude, it's so crazy the amount of money we spend on all this shit, but then like motherfuckers go broke when they're paying for some medicine.
15,000 long tons. I don't even know what that means.
Man. We need to change this shit. All right, we're gonna wrap this beat up. Hey, if you've been literally watching this whole 1 hour and 5 minutes right now, I appreciate it, man. I really love it. Appreciate you guys. Give us a like. Tell a friend. Help us out. Any suggestions? We'll take suggestions. If like
tell us
this kid's gotta be funnier or something, tell us. If he's gotta lose some weight, tell us. If he's gotta drop the glasses, tell us. if he's got a, wear better clothes. Hey, love, peace, chicken grease.